What's going on, traders? It's Ricky with TechBud Solutions. So thank you guys again for joining us for another helpful video within our TechBud Solutions YouTube channel. So for today's video, we're going to be talking about the fear of losing money. Like many of you, especially when initially starting out, the biggest risk is actually losing the money that you're investing. And how is it that you overcome it, and how is it that you can give yourself reassurance that you are doing the right thing by investing in whatever stock or penny stock you're choosing to invest in. So pretty much in this video, I'm going to be talking about my own experience in overcoming this obstacle, how I still encounter it day by day as a day trader, and just best practices that I've been able to share with members within TechBud Solutions that has led to the success not only for myself but for them as well. So I'm going to give you guys a very fresh example of, the fear of actually losing money. So we recently just started this $1,000 challenge within TechBud Solutions. So usually I trade with a little bit over $25,000 within my Robinhood account, which allows me to avoid this PDT rule, meaning that I can only day trade 3 out of 5 days. When you have over $25,000, you can day trade as many times as you want, right, with that margin account. Now, encountering these obstacles, since I only have 3 day trades, I wouldn't necessarily say I'm scared of, losing money because I always have my stop loss set, but it's actually the day trade that I actually value a little bit more. And how is it that, I can overcome, this obstacle on making sure that this day trade, 3 out of 5 days that are very valuable to me, how is it that I make sure that every time I jump in, or a majority of the time that I jump in, that I have reassurance that I'm doing the right thing, right? So you never 100% truly know. So we have different techniques within TechBud Solutions that we try to share with one another in an effort to give ourselves confidence when jumping in and choosing to invest in a stock. And in doing so, today there was a stock that we were actually trading today, and that stock was MTBC. So initially when I saw MTBC, I saw that it took a drop. It was originally trading around $2.20. It took a drop all the way down to $1.90. At least that's where I identified it. Continued to go down to $1.80, and then it started rising. I knew I had this margin of profit. Like we know, old supports become new resistance levels. And understanding that, I wanted to make sure that when I jumped in, that I was going to ride it up instead of down. But because of this day trade restriction, I second guessed myself, and because of that, I ended up not jumping in. And you know what happened with MTBC? It actually went from $1.80 all the way up to $2.37, and that's very frustrating. And I 100% agree that it's very frustrating identifying potential, but second guessing yourself and not feeling completely confident when choosing to jump in. And that's definitely something I think when a trader is initially starting out, and even down the road, that you're going to experience, especially when you encounter these specific restrictions that these brokerage companies put on you, right? So what's one of the things that I've been able to do in a sense to overcome these restrictions or these hesitations? One of the biggest things is planning. So first you need to learn how to trade, right? Once you understand what you're choosing to invest in, it makes it a little bit easier for you to identify potential. And that's one of the biggest questions. How is it that I identify that? We have a series of videos that actually help you identify potential, but pretty much what I do is, like, let's say for example, there's Apple. Apple's at $1 and it trades from $1 to $1.10. That's a 10% profit margin. So how is it that I know that I'm getting in on Apple at the same time? Well, based on the previous trends, I know that Apple at $1 jumps to $1.10, doesn't pass $1.10, and then comes back down. So there's this margin of profit that I've been able to identify that's 10 cents per share. So that's 10%, right, for this $1 stock. Now, initially, once I get the alert that Apple's at $1, how is it that I build confidence to jump on in? So something that we do is planning. So now that I know and I understand in a sense how to identify the potential, now I'm going to plan. I know that the support, right, where it usually bounces at is $1. I know the resistance is at $1.10. So I know that my buy point has to be at or close to $1, and my sell point should be around $1.10 or close to it, right, to lock in the profits. Now that you know the support, the resistance, you can use different indicators to identify that you're getting in at the bounce, that you're getting in on an upward trend, rather than getting in when it's actually going down. And there's different indicators like RSI that actually allow you to indicate if it's overbought or oversold. And there's hundreds of indicators that you could actually use to identify potential. These are just the number of indicators that I use daily. Now, being able to identify that, I can set up my plan that I'm going to buy in at $1. I'm going to try to sell at $1.10. And you should always have a stop loss. So I'm going to have my stop loss, let's say, at 99 cents. The reason in doing so is I'm pretty conservative with my trades, and I want to make sure that because I've been able to identify the past 3 bounces at $1, it hasn't gone below $1. So once it does go below $1 and it breaks that support, it's most likely going to continue bleeding down to an unknown support that I'm not familiar with based on the past, previous trends. And that's one of the hardest things, is especially when you set up this plan, you buy in at $1 and you set that stop loss, and then sometimes, or maybe for a majority of you guys, you end up stop lossing out quite a bit. So just because I'm conservative with my stop loss, in no way does that mean that you guys have to do the same thing. So now that you know where you're buying, now that you know where you're selling, and now that you know where you're cutting your losses, again, managing your risk, I feel like it becomes a lot easier for someone to actually make sense of their trade and understand that, they actually understand what they're choosing to invest in. They understand the risk and they understand the reward. And that's one of the biggest things that I believe 90% of the traders don't understand. And that's in a sense what I'm trying to share is, once you plan and once you in a sense make sense of it to yourself, I think you're gonna have a lot more confidence when choosing to invest, and not just stocks, but when you understand whatever it is that you're choosing to invest in. If you truly understand everything and you have everything planned out, you're going to build this confidence, and that confidence is really what I think is going to help you overcome these hesitations, because you as an investor can make sense of it. And that's one of the biggest things, right? Not based on anyone else's opinion, but solely based on yours and your experience and in your education. Now that you know to overcome this, understanding that not every trade you choose to invest in is going to be a green trade. It's not going to be always a profitable trade. And that's just what's going to happen, right? No matter how experienced you are, you're not always going to be successful. And you're most likely going to experience a lot more red days in the beginning than green days, just because of the mistakes you're going to be making. And that's one of the biggest points that we have this group. TechBud Solutions right now sits a little bit over 13,200 members. And the thing that we do best is we provide a very welcoming community, and we promote, mistakes and sharing best practices in an effort to expose people to both mistakes and best practices, so we don't repeat these mistakes, and we can learn from one another's, best practices in an effort to promote growth with the overall group. And I think that's one of the most beautiful things that I've been able to create with this community, is that everyone's here to help one another out. And that's something that's very uncommon for whatever platform you're choosing to get yourself into, because it's always very manipulative, and someone's always trying to make profit off of your loss. And that's definitely not what happens within TechBud Solutions. And no matter who it is that you're following, no matter who it is that you're listening to, there's nothing wrong with exposure, but there's 100% no reason that you should be investing in a company that someone else tells you to invest in, no matter what it is. Not me, not anyone, no matter how credible it is that they are. For someone to tell you you should invest your hard-earned money into something, and you just doing it based solely on that opinion and no other knowledge, I promise you that you'll see more red days than you will green days with that setup. You need to learn, you need to plan, and you need to execute. And understanding that it is going to take hard work. It is going to take a lot of time for you to understand. But I can tell you that once you are successful and you do see those green days and it's solely based on your expertise, it's going to be one of the most beautiful and best feelings you're ever going to, really experience. And it's something that you're going to really want to just continue to get into. And it's something that, why I look so forward to trading every morning at 6:30 Mountain Standard Time with each and every one of you, because I love what it is that I do, and I love the community that I've been able to create, and it's all because of you guys. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys have any questions or suggestions, please feel free to leave them in the comments. Also guys, I did want to let you guys know that we did start a new subgroup within TechBud Solutions, and it's also led by one of our members within TechBud Solutions, and his name is Bradley Smith. He reached out to me and pretty much told me that he wanted to start a subgroup within TechBuds that was the OTC group, and I think he already started it. I'm going to provide you with the link down below. Once he started, I believe they have 95 members currently, so it is going to get filled pretty quickly, but OTC is over the counter, so most likely stocks that are not tradable within Robinhood, but again, I wanted to make sure, so specifically when I reached out to him, I wanted to make sure that whatever group it is that he wanted to start, I would 100% support it, as long as he does two things. He provides a welcoming community for everyone that wants to join, because it is going to be a subgroup within TechBud Solutions, and that you encourage and promote growth. That's one of the biggest things. I think TechBud Solutions is not just a networking group, but it's a community of people that want to help one another out and really see one another succeed. And as long as we provide a welcoming community for each and every one of you that want to invest in whatever marketplace it is that you guys choose to invest in, then I'm more than happy or 100% willing to support whatever subgroup Bradley wants to create, or each and every one of you guys want to create. So the link will be provided for you down below. I will be revising the the links to the group chats within the Facebook platform. So feel free to join and ask to join within the Facebook platform. Then when you get accepted on the top pinned post, all the links to the group chats should be posted there. Thank you guys again. I can't thank you guys enough. And like always, if you guys can like and subscribe, we'd greatly appreciate it. I hope you guys have an amazing day. And like always, let's make sure we end the year on a green note. Take care, guys. Baby, don't you let it go to waste.